Let's go everyone. I'm starting this video to update you on the current situation with Bitcoin and Ethereum. If there's time and the video doesn't get too long, I'll also talk about altcoins. It's been about 1 or 2 weeks since I last recorded the video. I've been a bit absent because I was moving the office to a new location, so it took a bit of work. But thank God, everything's fine now. Everything's back to normal. We're going to get back to our routine with even more intensity, okay? Both in the videos and in the community, right? In both the VIP and the free one. Let's start trading more intraday setups, scalps, and swings and take advantage of the opportunities the market is offering. Thank God, we managed to finish setting up the office. And now let's go all in. Let's give it our all, okay? Today, I'm going to talk to you about Bitcoin and Ethereum, focusing on the two main ones, okay? If there's any background noise, I apologize, all right? There's a lot of construction going on nearby, but that's it, guys. Let's keep pushing forward. Starting with Bitcoin, we've seen some pretty interesting movement in the last few days, okay? Bitcoin managed to sweep the liquidity on the daily chart, right? I even marked this liquidity here with XX. Both of them, right? Both this low and this low were swept, okay? There was a lot of liquidity below this area. So after the price swept that liquidity, the market came in and already shifted its character, right? It changed character here and made a character shift here on the daily chart, okay? So we need to know how to discern, right? This character shift, right, between the time frames. There will be character shifts on the 4 hour, on the daily, on the weekly, and we trade, right, within the range of the time frame, you know. So let's go. What do we have now to observe? There's a very important liquidity on Bitcoin, okay? And it's very likely that you won't see almost anyone talking about it, which is this liquidity here, right? We have a double top here, and it's very important. Why? Because the heat map confirms for us that this liquidity is very important. Look here. Look, it's in the region of 111,000, okay? This liquidity has been accumulating here for a long time. If we take the heat map and bring it to the chart, right? Because there needs to be context. Both the heat map and the chart here on TradeView, they need to be aligned. So like, look, there's liquidity on the heat map. There has to be a reason here for why that liquidity is there. And the reason that liquidity is there is exactly this double top. And above this double top, we have the ATH. What could happen here? Okay, Bitcoin will most likely want to go after that liquidity to liquidate those people. After liquidating those people, since it's very close to the ATH, there might be a break of the ATH, okay? But what would be natural is for Bitcoin to liquidate those people, trigger a liquidation up here above that liquidity, and then come back to fill this inefficiency. Why this inefficiency and not that inefficiency? There's a lot of stuff people are teaching on the internet that's confusing those who are just starting out, you know. For us to trade an order block, an FVG, a BPR, whatever the setup is, we need the structure to be valid. And what invalidates this structure for me is the fact that the price came down to be a liquidity pool, which really is liquidity, okay? It's a liquidity low. There's a difference between a liquidity low and a low that isn't liquidity, all right? So this low was liquidity. The price swept this low and broke the structure. From the moment the market swept this low and broke this structure, we have a valid structure to trade. Meaning here we have an opportunity to go long. And where are we going to enter the long? We're going to enter the long at this inefficiency. At this inefficiency, why? Because you're going to draw your Fibonacci, you're going to look for confluence, right? So it will be within the OT zone. There are a lot of things we take into consideration, okay? You'll identify where the internal liquidity is being generated. So professional institutional analysis is quite different from the institutional analysis that's taught out there. That's why people start studying institutional analysis. And even so, the results don't change. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of people on the internet selling junk. But let's get back to the point. The price can sweep this liquidity and then come back to make this bounce here, this pullback. And only then can we form a new ATH. Okay. It may also happen that the price sweeps away this liquidity. This liquidity is not sufficient and the price comes and sweeps above the ATH. Then the market structure would completely change, right? And we would make a decision, yes, after this new structure formation, okay? But so far, what we have is this. The price can attack this liquidity. What do we have to do? Wait. The price attacked the liquidity. It aligned here. We can look for a short to get it, right? Up to this region of this pole here. If the market comes from here, right, and comes here to mitigate this region, we could also take a long, okay? You get a long with little, yeah, a little more care, right? Depending on how this movement comes, right? If the shape, the movement comes in a B formation, then yeah, we need to be a bit more careful, but I believe it will be a very interesting position, okay? If this board and if this pole doesn't work, the price will come to sweep this internal liquidity that was left behind, okay? The price didn't get to sweep this internal liquidity. It only swept the first one. The price comes to sweep it and mitigates, right? The order block here in the 102,000 region, which is much more extreme, right? So I keep an eye on this region first, right? And this liquidity here from this double top, okay? For Bitcoin, as for Ethereum, we have a slightly different setup with Ethereum, okay? Yeah, the two are moving in different ways. I shared, right? In the community, an opportunity, the possibility of taking a short in this region, and so far it's working. But since Bitcoin has this liquidity here, it can go after this liquidity at any moment, and Ethereum might follow Bitcoin and make a move a bit higher, okay? But for now, here's the situation with Ethereum. It's, inside this 4-hour order block and the daily OT zone. For the daily, we took the range from here and ended it here, okay? Remember that we got it right? We nailed Ethereum's bottom, so we're still riding a long position here, okay? Yeah, swing trade, we entered around 1,200 and 22,125, right? In this circle that I marked here, okay? The market swept the internal liquidity, right? The IRL mitigated our POI and made an upward move. In this upward move, yeah, Ethereum made a shock, okay? But actually it's a BC. We still haven't broken a strong low, a strong high, right? This high can be considered a strong high, but the liquidity that was swept was very small, but we can even take it into consideration, okay? But Ethereum is quite complex. Why? Because the market came to sweep internal liquidity. It swept just a tiny bit of liquidity here, okay? So the week barely went past, so there could still be a lot of liquidity here. So what's interesting about Ethereum would be this shorting opportunity. If the market doesn't respect this area, it could come up, right, to this upper block. It's a more extreme block. It's in the region of 2,760 to 2,880, okay? If Bitcoin sets a new ATH, it's very likely that all that Ethereum will come into this block region, okay? I'm not gonna say it's likely that it will break the ATH because that will depend a lot on dominance. But yeah, if Bitcoin sets a new ATH, Ethereum will go for the extreme block, okay? Yeah, but for now, this area is looking pretty interesting. Ethereum making this downward move, we have two possibilities here, right? You could trade here along with that Bitcoin area, or you could trade the lower block, okay? On Ethereum, I'm going to go with the lower block, okay? Around 2,320. Why? Because the liquidity that was swept was very small, so there's still liquidity below these lows, right? Equal lows. So Ethereum could come down, sweep that liquidity, trick the retail traders who are buying early, and then make an aggressive upward move, okay? For Ethereum, that's what we have. I was looking at an altcoin earlier today, which is XRP, right? XRP has an interesting support zone in this region of 2 or from 2.40 from 2.40 to 2.47, right? And there's a lot of internal liquidity being accumulated here, right? A lot of internal liquidity is being accumulated here. So the price could do the following. It could come down, sweep this liquidity, mitigate the support, and then make a downward move. This support is interesting, okay? I haven't done this analysis in great detail, but it's just a perspective for you all right? It's an opportunity that we can be watching, and that's it, folks. 10 minutes of video already. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here, okay? If you have any questions, just send them to me on Telegram support, all right? Yeah, join the free channel. If you can, join the VIP channel to follow to take advantage of the opportunities with us, and share this video, okay? Share this video in other groups. You're free to do that with your friends. Let's help grow the community, help more people, right? And that's it. Let's go for it. We're in this together.